We are not looking at people's economic background when we're bringing them in, and to as many people I've spoken to, at least in the student interactions, I feel a lot of our students actually come from very humble backgrounds. So if you'll see, our highest package on paper is 57 point something, but if you look at his offer letter, the person's offer letter, it's a 1.04 crores of CTC on the paper. But because the remaining 33 lakh was ESOPs which would have vested over the additional 3 years, those were not counted in the placement report. I don't want to show just the average number and anchor everyone कि यार सबकी 34 लाख की जॉब लग जाएगी.
Alright, so here we are with another interesting video for you, and I am sitting right now at Masters Union, joined by the director of the PGP program, Mehak Garg. Mehak, how are you feeling? Newly appointed PGP director for this particular institute, where you have been here for the last 2 years, I feel?
Last year and a half.
Last year and a half. So, how does it feel like? Does it put you in a lot of pressure? And what we are going to try and do and understand from you in this particular video is, if somebody is interested in joining a new B school like Masters Union, what are the 10 things that they should definitely keep in mind, right? And I hope that you will be the right person to help me out. So welcome once again to this conversation.
Thank you so much, Paul, for having me on the channel. And I think you've built a fantastic community, and the information that you're getting to the students is very critical, And just for context, I've myself been an MBA. I did my MBA from Stanford, was in US for 2 years. I think doing your school research is such a critical part of the entire process, because where do you spend your time on, what's the different format for each of the business schools, etc. All of that becomes very critical, and then you don't want to be spending time on a school where you don't even want to go, right? So I think there's a lot of, I see the quality of questions that people are asking. It started with, how is this even possible, because what we are doing is truly unheard of. We're going and questioning and breaking the status quo in every way possible. But now the question's like, okay, how are they doing it? It's no more like, this does not make any sense, blah, blah. But now it's like, okay, how are they doing it? And how do I get in? So I can see that there's a lot of validation for the brand. We've had people like Manoj Kohli, who's the ex-CEO of Airtel. He was also the SoftBank India head. He's joined the board of directors of Masters Union as a chairman. Again, he used to be teaching at Masters Union, but slowly his conviction in the entire vision that we are working towards has grown many folds, and that's where he decided to join us as the chair. So again, he sits on the board of Deloitte, and he sits on a lot of public boards. So the fact that he chose to mentor us, to give us his time, speaks volume again about what we are building.
So Mehak, it's important that we talk about the mission and vision of an institute, and we keep a check as to whether this aligns with the mission that we have with respect to the B school that we want to join as a student or not. How important do you think that becomes for somebody while they are making that choice?
So to tell you a little bit about what we stand for learning business by doing business. Where what I mean is, now take an example, okay? In your childhood, maybe you read about a play. You might have retained it a little bit. Then you might have seen a video about that play, Ramayana. If you've seen it on the TV, you might retain it slightly more. But now imagine you acted in a Ramayana show. I think the memory of that, when you act in the Ramayana, is what we're trying to recreate, where you are learning business by being that protagonist. So every term you have different simulations that we've given to the student, where we are simulating a real life situation which you may face in the future. Suppose through our dropshipping fair, student has to decide a go-to-market strategy. He has to put together a website. He has to have an accounting statement which he'll submit to his accounting professor. Then in the second term, he's going to go around doing live projects or consulting projects. So we create a little consulting company within the cohort, and students have taken live projects with companies as nice as Microsoft, where they're visiting Microsoft once every week, to work with their product management team, or they're consulting real startups with their business strategy. So there's students who are working with Aether, there's students who are working with Rage Coffee, there's students who are working with BlueSmart, etc., etc., and the list goes on. So those real life experiences is what will help you really build that muscle of getting things done. And then in the end, all the students are going through our venture initiation program, which by now I think a lot of people know about. And I've seen a lot of people are joining Masters Union for that.
Meg, I have a question here related to this. They're coming in for B school education. They're spending 2 years. There is an opportunity cost associated with it. There is a fees that is associated with it. The tendency is somewhat, you getting a job, you securing that money back, and then probably at some point get into being an entrepreneur, right? Do you see the same in your students when they come in here? Is that a mindset that you are probably trying to tell them that, it's okay because you are learning B school business at the end of the day, and from B school, if you are done with your degree, you should start your business?
So the thought is that at any stage, if my student feels that they want to start building their business, and what's interesting, Paul, is that today I'm working at Masters Union. I'm not the founder, but at the same time, I'm as entrepreneurial even within Masters Union as I would have been if I was building my own startup. So that experience of building, of starting something from scratch, of insane execution, that will help you nonetheless, right? Because you can choose to work in a startup, you can choose to work in a legacy company. Today, a lot of legacy company wants fresh talent to work on these, moonshot projects, which they were not thinking about earlier. But they are seeing that, these new startups are actually just destroying our value. And hence they want people who can think in that way, who can think very differently. In fact, one of our students who recently joined Zerodha, he was a creator at campus. He started his channel at campus. Today has 10,000 followers. And now he is actually making a case of why Zerodha should also focus on a digital first, social media first strategy for younger generation of users. So I feel that journey is going to help you nonetheless in your outcome. But to your question, there's always that thought of opportunity cost that, you have loans, you have to repay them, and you have to, you have to pay the bills at the end of it. So what we ensure is that through this journey, we are constantly giving them, small checks, and, we're writing our pre-seed checks, etc., where teams who are serious about building, they can be assured that their basics are covered for even a couple of months after, graduating from the Masters Union campus. I want this to be a place where whatever winning looks like for you, I want to just empower that. If winning looks like becoming a billionaire for you, I want to empower that. If winning looks like starting a unicorn, like starting and building a unicorn, I want this place to be the place which will empower you, which will support you through that ecosystem.
So Mehak, while you were at Stanford, you probably must have had a wonderful time looking at the infrastructure that was there, the kind of facilities that you got. Do you think it's important for somebody who is making this decision to join a B school should actually focus on the infrastructure and the kind of facilities that they are getting here?
So if you'll see the location, and you would have driven down here, we are located in a corporate campus. It's very similar to how you would see if you go to New York, the New York University is in a very corporate campus as well. The reason why we chose this campus is that we believed that you cannot be studying isolated. I can bring you the best of PhDs in that isolation. I can bring you the best of professors probably. But I also want to bring you the best of industry practitioners. And those industry practitioners find this location to be so accessible. Someone like Deep Kalra came in and he was just blown away by the kind of infrastructure that we've developed here, because it's collaborating and rubbing shoulders with your future recruiters, with people who you're doing live projects with. There are people who will just take a lift down, teach a class, and then go back to their work. But if they have to go to a remote campus, it's a day's affair, which is why a lot of people just back out. And I do think, and I'll be very candid about it, Paul, I don't have sports facilities on my campus, right? My residential, like my hostel, etc., is going to be like 15 minutes away. But I am providing that facility where, while it's 15 minutes away, I'm providing shuttles so that, our students also do not have to worry about it. Then I'm also providing, sports memberships in clubs, etc., so that people who also want to focus on the sports angle, etc., they should not feel compromised. So I have prioritized what I want to deliver versus not. But the other things that I think I'm not acing, but I'm still providing so that our students are not feeling that, oh, why am I not being able to do it? And the outcomes in terms of not just placements, but if you look at the number of students from the campuses who won these case competitions that are happening at IMA, B, C, IITs, etc., our students are just topping the charts everywhere. Our students have gone to Shark Tank, have pitched to Aman Gupta. They've raised 75 lakhs on Shark Tank. So to me, I feel that I'm doing something right to be able to achieve those things.
So it's important for a B school student to actually think about the kind of money that they are going to spend, because it's the opportunity cost, it's the fees, and it's a lot of other sort of monetary decisions that they need to make in the 2 years that they are spending in a B school. So with respect to that, how should that choice be made for a student who is looking to join a new B school, in your opinion?
So again, that's a very personal choice. You should look at your own finances, where you are in your own life, and how much can you spend. I do agree that we have expensive. For some people, they might consider it expensive. But I would think that the kind of facilities that I'm providing, the kind of professors, the international professors we have to fly in, etc., I do not want to compromise on my experience of the students in any way, right? Now, what I'm ensuring is that I have scholarships. I'm ensuring that we have easily available loans, so that if someone who really wants to study and is a deserving candidate, the money should not be an inhibition. And again, we are ensuring that the campus outcomes in terms of your long-term careers is so well that the time and money that you invest on yourself is worth it in the long term, and that's the hope.
Right. What is the usual profile of the students here at these cohorts? So, where do they belong to? Do they belong to tier 1, tier 2 cities? Do they belong to high and ultra rich profiles, or do they belong to middle class families where a lot of people aspire to get into these B schools to be somebody?
Sure. So definitely the school is a place where we have dreamers and builders. We are not looking at people's economic background when we're bringing them in. And to as many people I've spoken to, at least in the student interactions, I feel a lot of our students actually come from very humble backgrounds. There's someone who's actually been a dragon fruit farmer and has a very different experience. In terms of profile, we'll see that almost 70% of my cohort is between 2 to 5 years, because we do feel there is merit in you having gained some experience before the B school. So again, the percentage of freshers or someone less than 2 years is going to be relatively less. That said, we do accept freshers who have done exceptionally well. They've shown leadership, they've shown entrepreneurial spirit, or they've done academically very well. And we also take people who would have completed maybe 8 years, 10 years of experience, but then their purpose of why they want to come here should be very clear, right? But if you look at 60-70% of the profile, it's between that 2 to 5 years. Then we're looking for someone who has that demonstrated ability and signs of that he is going to be someone who's going to hustle it through, who's going to be a leader, who's going to be humble, who's going to actually be willing to say that sorry, I don't know, or sorry, I was wrong, and be ready to be corrected. I don't want to know it all in the campus in terms of the culture. So those are the characteristics that form the cohort. So it's truly a very, very diverse class that has come together.
Right. Students, when they're deciding on which B school to go to, they also are making sure that the institute is ready for tomorrow, right? And when I'm saying ready for tomorrow, they're looking for the fact that how are the professors? What are they going to teach? Are they technologically savvy or not? Is the campus technologically savvy or not? These are few things that they're definitely checking in their list. How important is to check that? And how do you think you are doing justice to that in this particular time?
I think, Paul, that's an excellent question. If you look at our business schools, what we are teaching is tech and business. So it's a postgraduate program in technology and business. So our fundamental belief is that we are getting changed through technology every single day. Those changes are happening no more at yearly or decade level, right? Things are changing on daily basis, which is why it becomes so critical for us to integrate technology in every field. So we're not necessarily teaching finance, we're teaching fintech. We're not necessarily teaching marketing. We're teaching how do you do analytics within marketing, or how do you enable marketing through tech. So every course at Masters Union would have a very strong bend towards technology. And I fundamentally believe that is critical for career success as students are going ahead. So I would think if you are truly staying cutting edge, you really need to know what's happening at the intersection of AI. You need to know what's happening at the intersection of IoT, Web3. All of these new technologies are the future on which a lot of startups are going to get built. So it's almost like saying that when the entire internet revolution happened, what if someone just did not get to know about it at the right time? You would have been left so far behind.
While you were at Stanford, how important did you feel networking was? Because as far as I know, these Ivy League B schools, they also don't provide you placements, right? They tell you that you go fend for yourself, find something for yourself. We have trained you enough, and now it's your job to do it.
Correct.
Right? How important did you feel networking was, and how do you think that you impart the same for your students?
Once again, a great question, Paul. So what I try to do in my new role, at least, is that how do I take more and more inspiration from my own experience of doing a global MBA and how did that shape me, etc. Now, if I look at it, in Stanford, the thought process is very clear. We are an educational institute. Our job is to make sure that we have empowered you enough that you should succeed irrespective of what you want to do. So that's what we're trying to do, and that's why networking becomes very critical, because in Stanford, I think almost everybody would get their jobs simply by going on coffee dates, would network with professors. They would invite the partners from McKinsey to come to the campus, deliver a talk. That's how one of my friends got a job in McKinsey. So we're trying to replicate all of that here. If you look at it, every club which is focused on one academic department or the other. So we have one club for every academic domain. And those clubs are actively bringing these opportunities for networking, for panel discussions, for treks that are happening. Students went to Adani recently, then they went to Amul's factory for a visit again. They went to Physics Wala recently to interview Alak Pandey. Their tech club was involved in that. So then they're going off campus to build case studies on how these businesses have been successful.
So alumni becomes a very important factor when we are deciding for a particular B school, and your alumni base is probably not as much as we talk about legacy B schools, but it's an important yardstick for people to look at, because then they would get to know that what the previous batches have done and the kind of output that the alumni member has actually had in the past. So how important do you think that is for someone to make that choice of their preferred B school?
So I'll first address the elephant in the room, which is because we're a recent business school. Of course, our alumni network is only now building, right? We only have 160 plus 60, 61. So somewhere around 280, 300 alumni until now. But what I'm already seeing is that our students are doing insanely well in their roles. So this one student who recently switched to take a role with Antler as a VC. Then there's a student who again recently switched to Cisco. We do these self-reported surveys, and I'll look up the report, but I would say that somewhere around 57% hikes have been given over a 1 year period to a lot of these students. And again, these are self-reported numbers, to be very clear. But I think the alumni are doing really, really well. Another indicator of the alumni doing well is that a lot of companies where these alumni went, they continue to keep coming back to us saying that can we get 2 more of these types, where they have done so incredibly well. I want just more students of the same type in my company. So to me, I think the fact that there's so much pull from the market, the fact that my recruiters keep coming back to me and I have these deep engagements, that gives me a lot of reassurance that our students are doing well in their companies also.
Now let's talk about placements, and that's something that a lot of students raise eyebrows to, and a lot of students do wait for when it comes to Masters Union. What was the placement like for you, and how much importance should I be giving to placements when I'm making that choice of getting into a new B school like yours?
So one, what I talk about usually is that if say Masters Union average is 34.07 versus another college average is the same or higher, etc. Again, double click on those numbers. Is the report audited or not? Is it that we've taken the ESOPs of all 4 years, or the variable of all 4 years or 2 years variables, etc. Or have we taken the number only for that 1 year? So in Masters Union, we make sure that all the numbers are based on, or that's how the auditor works, right? That everything is according to your first year CTC. So if you'll see, our highest package on paper is 57 point something. But if you look at his offer letter, the person's offer letter, it's a 1.04 crores of CTC on the paper. But because the remaining 33 lakh was ESOPs which would have vested over the additional 3 years, those were not counted in the placement report. So that would be one thing. The second would be also looking at the kinds of roles and companies and the diversity of roles that the students have gone to. Have all the students gone to have 10-20 students gone to one company, and there's nothing wrong in it. You have to choose that what's the right thing for me, or has it been a very personalized, customized approach to your placement journey, right? Where you tell me that Mehak, I want to go into these, this is where I'm coming from, this is where I want to pivot, this is where I want to go up my profile, etc. And how will you help me? So in a lot of cases, Masters Union's process for placements is extremely personalized, which is why for the first time in any business school in India at least, we are the first business school to have 6 VC offers in a single year. Our placements roll over for 3-4 months, 5 months, where we again don't have a day 0, 1, 2 concept where some legacy companies still follow that process. Even for Masters Union, we have that also, but that's not the only process, which means that you will take a job when you feel ready for it. That could also happen that you want to take a job 6 months after your cohort graduates, where you say, Mehak, that I really want to spend the next 6 months to deep dive into my idea, but will you as a campus support me even if I don't do well? I would be like, yes, 100%, go build what you want to, and if you fail, I'm always there for you. But then do what's right for you, because otherwise the job satisfaction is not going to be there, you'll not succeed.
Right. The bottom 25% average CTC stays at 22 lakh.
Yes.
And that's something that I don't see many B schools actually revealing. When you're revealing this, do you think that is counterproductive to the ROI that you probably are talking about in the market?
So Paul, I want to make sure that I'm being realistic to all the students who are going to come after this, right? I don't want to show just the average number and anchor everyone कि यार सबकी 34 लाख की job लग जाएगी, right? Because I want to make sure that people are aware that there's a huge variance from the highest at 57 to the lowest, where people understand that I'm serving the same set of learnings and experience to all the students, but what you make out of the entire MBA program is really up to you. But specifically talking about the bottom 25%, you'll see that the less than 1 year experienced students in our cohort 3, which the placement report is for, is roughly 25 to 30% of the entire cohort.
Okay.
And a large proportion of the lower CTC numbers are going to be with students who are just slightly more early in their journeys, which I think is totally fair.
One last question. Before I make that call on getting into a B school, I need to know what the batch size is. How much of importance am I going to get when I'm sitting in that classroom? So with respect to your B school, what is that? Are you thinking of expanding your batch size anytime soon? Is it very difficult to get into your B school? And the camera is yours. You can pitch in for your B school as to the kind of people that you're looking to fill those seats by.
So one, I would like to think that we're very, very competitive in terms of who we are accepting, because we really, really feel that every student who's getting accepted to the class is going to add to the class experience, right? So then that diverse classroom that I want to create has to be above par, because even if there's one student who does not meet the cut, he was going to destroy the class experience of so many more people. And that is why for me, the class size, while we do plan to expand it maybe a little bit, the current batch size is 201. We might go to maybe 250. But the cutoff is going to be the minute I feel that this student does not belong to Masters Union, we're going to pause there. One small thing that I want to mention is that, Paul, my own experience of been on the other side of the table of being a student at Stanford, and then having gone and raised 100 crores for my own startup, having built a startup where I had 200 full-time employees and then 200 contractual teachers, and then having to had fired them all because the startup did not work out. I returned 70 crores back to the investors. So I feel I've seen the journey, and my hope would be that my own experiences along with the academic team, along with our leadership team that we've put together with a lot of thought, we will really try to keep student first. We have weekly events to learn more about Masters Union, both on campus and on webinars. So while people are doing their research, I would strongly encourage them to come to the campus, sit in one of the classes, sit in one of the CXO sessions, engage with our admissions team, etc. All of those events are live. Every week, 4 to 5 events are happening. So experience any business school, not just Masters Union, before you make that choice, because it's such an important career choice that you'll make.
Great. Thank you very much, Mehak. I know you have another engagement after this, and I'm not going to hold you back any longer. I hope that the answers that you have given has helped people making their minds, and I hope that we did justice to give them those 10 pointers that they probably should look into before they come in and join your institute. That brings us to the end of this particular video. Do tell us in the comments below if you found this to be useful. If you want to know more about this particular institute, there is a link. There is a link as well that Mehak told about for the events that are following. Do make a choice once you go through these kind of interactions, and if it makes sense, make the right B-School choice for yourself. Do tell us which are the other guests you would want us to bring at this particular platform to help you make that B-School choice for yourself. Thank you very much, Mehak. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you get a brilliant cohort again the next time so that we can talk more about it.
Thank you so much, Paul, and I am thrilled to read through the applications that come to us this year.
Thank you.